Oh, what's up, demons and demonettes? Tis I, Atraxi, a demon queen, and today I wanted to talk to you about Aurora Squad in our Ravaged realm. But before we get into it, as always, toss a like and subscribe down below. As you can see on Aurora Squad, I am number one by leaps and bounds, and this has to do with certain mistakes, we'll say, that benefited me in the long run that I made, way back, months and months and months ago when the game first came out, and I didn't know anything about Wishlist. And I accidentally pulled for Muriel and pulled her up to Supreme Plus, and how that's benefiting me now. So, right, Aurora Squad. So let's talk about Aurora Squad. The first thing I want to point out, this is a trap. Don't fall into this trap. I thought Pesto Freesto was going to be good on this boss because, you know, he does percentage damage. He has his buffs. I thought he was going to be amazing on this boss. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a DPS trap. So let's get into it, right? So as you can see, we're not using our dear Freesto at all. We're just using the generic team of the Lightbearer heroes that we have in-game because we haven't gotten a new Lightbearer hero because they seem to have forgotten about affection. Anyway, right, so this is what I'm running that gives me the best damage. Number one overall by leaps and bounds. I was a little surprised that we didn't use Freyasto, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. I was pretty close on my own, but we got there with the help of the community. Anyway, let's get into the formation. So as you can see, I was running Quick Blade here, and this is kind of the formation. We have Corin, Merrily, Tamisia, Lucius, Vala, and the reason we're using like a Lucius in this case is because of his buff that he gets that's amazing from his seasonal skill. Tamisia debuffs the boss. Merrily, Corin, and Vala all do true damage or physical damage that works well here. And then we have Cassidy, Rowan, and Muriel. Rowan's there as an energy battery. Muriel does great damage here, but she's typically a little bit slow in getting her ult off, and that's why having that energy battery there is big. And then you have Cassidy as a buffer debuffer. So like if you go and you look at Muriel's damage, you know, it's not bad, it's not great, but hey, it gets us there. It's the best of what we got. Cassidy's obviously much better, but again, I built her up because of the battle drill and just her use in pre-endless in Dream Realm. I think she'll be meta for a little bit going into next season. So we built her up, good investment. But obviously this is the squad that does the most damage, and then we have the damage buff. So as always, let's get into the charms. Alrighty, so here we go. We'll cover Tamisia first. We're running all blasting here, right? And this is just gonna up her attack. Because she doesn't attack in the traditional sense, but she does do attack, and she does do a decent amount of damage. And then her ult strength, that's a good chunk of her damage as well. Alright, Corin, as you can see, we're running all the, mystic charms, right, because we want haste and skill power, because a lot of his damage comes out of his skills, and we just want to make him faster, so he does that better. So you have, again, the skill power plays into his true damage. This is where he was big on Beetle. That's why I pumped him up to 15. Again, it plays into his crit. Doesn't do much here. That's just his EX weapon, right? So that builds up his true damage. And then we have, that's just his attack range, and that's just his seasonal. Lucius charms aren't really like uber important. Lucius is there more for his his seasonal skill, right? So it's for the Heart of Unity here. That's the same one that has Scarlita, that we've been using Scarlita in the Dream Realm and subbing in Lucius. But let's get into his charms. So basically, I'm just running the healing charms on him, so he can act as kind of the healer for the squad. The boss doesn't require all that much healing, so Lucius's healing is generally enough to keep up the unit. So we just want to bump it up a little bit more, and his ult plays into his healing as well. And then we're just speeding him up so he can go a little quicker with the Gale charm. Merrily, we're just gonna run the standard charms that you would normally run on her in Dream Realm for those that you would run, which is the Overload charm, because again, we're gonna boost her crit damage because she is a crit kind of heavy character, and we do need to run multiple parses on this one, so you're definitely gonna want to use all of your attempts here to run for crits if, you know, you see like you're a little low and you don't reach that like high. So you definitely gonna want to run it multiple times for your crit damage in that case. Yeah. So, and then Vala, this is one of the biggest ones that I've noticed, at least in my district, of people that post. They got Vala's charms wrong. And this is the biggest cause, right? So one of the pitfalls I see a lot of people doing is they just use the thumbs up one, and they're running Reaper Charm. And we'll talk about why Reaper Charm is not any good. So we have this execute stat here, right? And you're like, oh, well, what does execute do? So the reason why we're not gonna want to run it is because if we go into stats here, right, and we go and we look at execute, and we click on it. Every point in execution increases the damage dealt by 1% to the target whose HP ratio is below 50%. In Endless Mode, the boss has infinite health and will never be below 50%, so execute is a wasted stat. So instead, we want to make sure that we run Overload Charm, again, for haste and crit damage boost. This will just increase her damage overall, and you're not wasting a stat on something like execute, which is adding nothing to the unit. Again, you need to run multiple parses because of the crits. So we have Cassidy here. We're just, again, we are doing haste and crit. All the same.
Composition of levitation will tell you everything.
Now, as I had mentioned earlier, Muriel is a little bit on the slower side, so we do want to speed her up and increase her damage. So what we're going to do is attack haste, and then haste attack speed, right? So we want to make her as quick as possible, because one of the things is Muriel is a great DPS unit, and she has a lot of AoE damage. The problem is she's very, very slow. Now, she ramps up over time, but it's getting out that first ult that is important, because her energy generation is slow. So that's kind of like what we want to do there. For Rowan, it's not too much of a big issue. We want to get him. Again, he's acting as an energy battery and a little bit as a healer, so we want to use those charms. I'll have to fix that, but so again, we use this guy here. We just use one healing, one ultimate strength, just so he can get that out better. But we want him to generate energy on hit, and we want him to increase the ult strength, because then that means he'll get his energy faster. Which in turn means he gets his ult out faster, and he generates energy for Muriel and Cassidy faster. So that's what his job kind of is in the squad. He's an energy battery. We want to make him a better energy battery, and that's how he works. And that's it for this one. I will catch you in the next one. Laters.